Hi guys, it's been a while since we've had a video notes, but here we go. Alright, so area of composite figures. We all glued them in today, and all of this is just combining what we've already known. Okay, so first of all, let's quickly review the area formulas you already know. You could look in your formula chart, you can look on your other chart. We know how to find the area of each one of these shapes. But let's review the formulas because there are how to answer these questions. So if we know how to do each one of these shapes, we can do more complex shapes. That's all this is. So to find area of a composite figure is you must add, and I'm going to make it really bold, add the area of each individual figures. Okay? So you're going to add up each individual, the area of each individual figures. Sorry guys. So add is your big key. So for this, you're probably going to need quite a few highlighters. If you're doing it in my class, you know where my highlighters are. And if you're doing it at home, colored pencils, highlighters, something to distinguish. Alright, so adding's our key here. And if you want to put the plus sign so you remember what. So we're going to have to add all these figures up. So we got to find the area of each one of them. So area of each of them, not just one of them, and then add up those areas. We practiced this today in Daily Darth Vader. We did one with just rectangles. Now, the formula for a square we've talked about is A equals base times height. The area of a rectangle is the same, A equals base times height. The area of a parallelogram is base times height. And again, I'm going to start using some color codes. Alright, so bases I'm going to say are green. And I wrote all these together because notice they're the same. Okay, so the base is this, and I'm going to do the heights as pink. Okay, so the height would be how far it is from base to base. So notice this one's on the figure, this one's on the figure, this one is through the figure because remember it's from base to base. We talked about that. Alright, so now let's look at the triangle one. It is base times height divided by 2. So again, my base is going to be green. So it's along the bottom. My height is from base to tip. Okay? This was the one we've been practicing a whole lot today. B1 plus B2 times height divided by 2. So here is base 1, here is another base. And then the height stands from base to base. And remember, it makes a right angle that kind of looks like an H. This one also makes a right angle that kind of looks like an H. So, this one technically does too, but where I drew it, you can't really see that. So, alright, now, circles are a little weird. Remember, circles don't have bases and heights. They have radiuses and diameter, and it's pi r squared. And remember, pi is that perfect number, 3.14. And radius, let's use a different color entirely. Radius is from the center to the edge. So that's the radius. And there's really only one dimension you need. So if they give you a diameter, you can find out the radius. Okay, so these are the formulas. We've learned them all. We spent 2 weeks drilling these into our brain. Now we're going to combine the information. Okay, I'm going to start with example 2. We're going to leave example 1 till tomorrow. So I'm going to do example 2 and 3. So I'm not going to even deal with example 1. Whoops, I ripped my page a little bit. Example 1 today. We're only going to do 2 and 3. Now, I want you to follow every step I'm doing because I will tell you how I want it to look. Okay? So the first thing you have to do is you have to decide what figures are here. So when I look at this figure, I see a triangle. There's my triangle. I see a rectangle, and I don't know if you'll be able to see that in the highlighter. Okay, I see a rectangle. You can barely see my highlighting. And you see a trapezoid. Okay, these are the shapes that you're going to be dealing with. So, we're going to have to find the area for all figures. But we have to name what figures. So first we're going to deal with the triangle. And we also know we have to deal with a rectangle. And we know there is a trapezoid at the bottom. Okay, notice I labeled them all out. Okay, the formula for a triangle is base times height divided by 2. If you didn't know, you looked up here. So base times height divided by 2. So I have to look at my triangle, and I'm going to just kind of look at my triangle. The base is this bottom number right along here, but it's not labeled. So I have to look at my whole shape. What number is parallel or the congruent side of this rectangle? Well, it turns out it's 15, goes up here. Now that I look at my triangle, what is my base? What is my height? 15 is my base, 9 is my height. So, A equals I'm going to put all this in. It's my triangle. So my base is 15. My height is 9, and it's all divided by 2. So when I put that in my calculator, I'm just going, whoops, I don't know if you can see it. Whoops. 15 times 9 divided by 2. And you get 67.5. So the area that I need is 67.5 and centimeters squared. So this is my area for my triangle. So if it was me, inside this shape, and I'm going to write it in the highlighter, but inside this shape it is going to be 67.5. So that's the measurement, this whole thing. If I were to color all of this in, it would be 67.5. Alright, now let's go to the rectangle. So ignore the other shapes. I'm only dealing with the rectangle. The formula is A equals base times height. And the base is 15. The height is 4. Okay? So 15 times 4 is 60 centimeters squared. And again, you can't really see the yellow very well on my thing, so I'm not going to write it in highlighter, but this is 60 centimeters squared. Okay, so we now have 67.5, 60, and then let's find this one. The trapezoid's formula is A equals B1 plus B2 times height divided by 2. Okay, B1 is 18 plus B2. We got to look back up here to this 15 times 4 is the height, because notice this makes the H. Okay, and then all divided by 2. Remember, if you're going to do it all together, parentheses are important. 18 plus 15, close parentheses, times 4 divided by 2 is 66. So A equals 66 centimeters squared. So this is 66 centimeters squared. All right, so all together, what do we have to do? Go back to our thing. We have to add them all because I want to know everything in here. I found this part, and this part. Now I want them all together. So I have to add them. 67.5, 60, and 66. Now, once you're putting it in a calculator, you don't have to pay attention to it, but you have to make sure that your decimals are lined up. So 66 plus 67.5 plus 60. And you get 193.5 centimeters squared. That is your total answer. This is your total area. So, notice quite a bit of work to do one problem. All of this is one problem. All I've done is example 2. So you're going to have to really work hard on these. I'll be very sparing on the number I give you, but you have to work really hard. Alright, now let's move on to this next one. I'm going to go really pretty fast. Alright, so you see there is a triangle, there is a square, and there is a parallelogram. Okay, so that's what I'm going to write here. There is a triangle, there is a square, there is a parallelogram. Okay, so the triangle formula is A equals base times height divided by 2. The square one is base times height, and the parallelogram is base times height. Again, if you didn't know those off the top of your head, there they are. Okay. Again, I'm color coding so I know where I am. This will help me figure out which part I'm solving for. Okay? So I'm color coding. Notice this is orange, the triangle is orange. This is pink, the square is pink. The parallelogram is green, so I need the dimensions. And I'm going to start at the bottom because it doesn't matter which way I'm starting. I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to start at the parallelogram this time. Okay? So I'm going to start at the bottom. I need the length, or the base, and the height. So this one right here makes the height. Yeah, it's an upside down H, but it's still the height. So it's going to be 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21 yards. So in my figure, I'm going to write 21 yards squared. You can't see that very well. Let me write it in pen as well. Okay, so 21 yards squared. Okay? Now, let's do the square. 7 times 7. So, A equals 49 yards squared. You don't know what how I got that number, you would do 7 times 7 in your calculator. Okay? Seven times 7 in my calculator gets me, excuse me, let me finish out doing my whole figure. 7 times 7 gets me my dimensions. Alright, now let's go up to triangle. A equals the base of 7 times the height divided by 2. So 7 times 7 is 28, divided by 2 is 14, but let's check it. 7 times 4 divided by 2 is 14. So I was right. 14 yards squared. So this will be 14 yards squared. Alright, now what do? I have to add all these figures up. So I have 14, 49, and 21. Add them all up. This is 10 plus 4 is 14. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my answer is, this is my total area, is 84 yards squared. So this is my absolute answer. So when it asks, what's the area of this figure? It's not these individual areas, it's this total area. Just like this one, it's the total area. Alright, try to keep this short and sweet, pretty fast, lots of work, but we'll work on number 1 with that half circle, or example 1, a little bit later. But these two need to be done. I need to see some color coding, and all of this needs to be ready for reference. Okay, see you Thursday. Bye, guys.